devil trying to trap me, saying I'm the chosen one. Boy, why? Cause I'm H-I-M, cause I'm H-I-M. Hot damn, cause I'm H-I-M, cause I'm H-I-M.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about him. In this story, we follow a young athlete who descends into a world of terror when he's invited to train with a legendary champion, whose charisma curdles into something darker. Produced by Jordan Peele and also making his feature-length debut as co-writer and director Justin Tipping comes an experimental genre trip which blends sports drama and psychological horror. And I gotta say, there were two particular reasons I was very excited to see this, and that is the names of Jordan Peele and Marlon Wayans. I was hoping by joining forces that their brilliance would ignite the expectations of what to look forward to when the subject of football becomes an action and fear. Nonetheless, I did have to reserve some of my expectations because it did clear up later on that this wasn't the project that Jordan Peele was significantly working on. This was just something that he produced, but nevertheless, I was really just curious as to what the talents of Justin Tipping was going to be behind the camera. Starting off with my positives, this movie was visually striking and appealing from start to finish. I mean, it merely felt like a music video with all the boot camp training sequences, with its production value, its cinematography, all of its track choices, going very much hand in hand with the editing. The horror images and symbolisms really utilize the allegories of football, our main character, and the overall theme of the story. There are some scenes where they actually used an X-ray / thermal filter, which kind of made me feel uneasy and somehow locked up my nerves, especially when it came to some of the scenes where our lead is risking another concussion with any rough contact. Just like The Substance, where we have a lot of the in-your-face zoom shots on the human body, as well as the sound design being very crisp, I was genuinely uncomfortable. I just wanted to shut my ears as much as I winced my eyes closed. The constant needles penetrating the skin, the snapping and breaking of bones, just any sort of head trauma, and anything involving the eyes, fuck all that. But again, applause to the technical side of this production. Getting into some of the talent here, Tyreek Withers, who I spotted in an episode of FX's Atlanta and also got to shine in the recent requel of I Know What You Did Last Summer, plays rising football star Cameron Cade. Now, although he does have second billing, the narrative of the story really just follows his character and his journey to be the next GOAT. While Withers is still getting used to being less wooden or being less reserved when it comes to him having the spotlight, I do think that he did find some opportunities to really be vulnerable, really loosen up, and also have fun. I mean, I know at the moment he is kind of a pretty face for genre flicks, but I do think that he has the potential to be a really, good leading man, especially something like Glenn Powell, perhaps. Now, the real MVP of this movie, the real GOAT, is Marlon Wayans. Now, although he's very well known for his comedic talent alongside his family, as well as having tackled some serious roles in the past, I do think that he is very magnetic and very much demands the screen as seasoned football superstar Isaiah White. Alongside Withers, he pretty much puts on the bravado, the brotherly camaraderie, and the silly wit that he's very much known for, but adding a little bit of that sinister edge to his grin. Now, he pretty much channels that energy of very intense coach / mentor who's willing to push the boundaries at any cost. And I praise Wayans for really committing to that shredded physique alongside his scary good performance. Getting into my mixed opinions, while I was hoping that this movie would have something to say about blending sports and horror together, unfortunately, it just didn't mix well. This turned out to be a better football movie than it is horror, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It gathers a lot of familiar tropes that we've seen play out before, so by the 20-minute mark, I had a strong idea of Isaiah's true intentions as much as the direction that they were headed. While the movie's pacing does a very good job at trying to keep you at a chokehold of anticipation and suspense, the ending results really play it safe and doesn't try to take the swings that it wants to, and barely stands apart from the movies that are just alike. It's not as clever as it thinks it is, and while it doesn't graduate to anything above face value, the third act can only end in a bang or a whimper. And I'm not gonna lie, The reveal may have been underwhelming, but I'm glad that it was followed by a bloodbath. I mean, at some point there was a part of me that was just dying for this to be over. And then there was that one little transition where we go from shifting the viewpoint of the pen to the hammer, and I was just cheering. I wish that the marketing didn't allude to this. I mean, it's a little bit predictable, but I was already hoping for them to give us the Hollywood ending instead of the ambiguous A24 one. Getting into my negatives, I did feel like the script was very paper thin, where a lot of the context and dialogue felt regurgitated from scene to scene. Kind of like, I hate to say this, but Hurry Up Tomorrow, where you are just mesmerized by all the flashy imagery that a lot of the characters and situation at hand doesn't necessarily move the plot along. Although it is not as pretentious as Abel Tesfaye. There would be all these little analytics and comparisons between football and God, football and family, football and life. And I knew what they were going for, but at the same time, they don't necessarily push the envelope in order to earn that or even bring all of those convictions full circle. At the end of the day, all the good stuff, all the exciting things that you actually see in the trailer was pretty much nearly all it had to reward its patient viewers. Not a lot happens, and that's probably the reason why like 4 people walked out of my auditorium that night. I was hoping for a little bit more, for a payoff. I mean, maybe there was a demon lurking behind the curtain, or maybe yank the rug from beneath the audience and say that everything that you've seen up until his incident wasn't real. There was just so much material to work with on the page. So much, I mean, that they could have expanded upon, maybe dig a little deeper, but we didn't get that. Overall, this was an indie movie at heart with a big budget that was plagued with inflamed expectations. There wasn't a lot to offer, but surprisingly, I wasn't bored. I didn't fall asleep. This movie could have been better, could have been scarier, but I think it shows a little bit of promise to what the director is capable of behind the camera, the vision that he had. And this also goes for the performances of Withers and Wayans. I think Withers is a star in the making, and Wayans is just an intoxicating revelation. I am just so excited for his resurgence, especially back on the silver screen. Scary Movie 6 next year, yo. Well, alright guys, that's all I get to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Agbanawag. I want to thank you guys again for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. I'll see you guys at the theater. Take care.
Hot damn, cause I'm H-I-M, cause I'm H-I-M. Hot damn, cause I'm H-I-M, cause I'm H-I-M. Hot damn, as I become the greatest. Now my ex wanna suck it like D-generation. Never exhibited patience. Also surrounded by sucking